Hi, I'm Olivia Peck, and I'm a New Orleans creative, and you're listening to NOLA Film Scene.
NOLA Film Scene.
Hello, welcome to NOLA Film Scene with TJ and Plato.
I'm TJ.
And as always, I'm Plato.
Welcome back to NOLA Film Scene. We are here with our good friend and our singing teacher, actress Olivia Peck.
Yay!
Olivia, thanks for joining us. Yeah.
Happy
Welcome.
to. I'm so flattered. Thanks for having me on. I'm excited and nervous. I'm mostly excited.
Nothing to worry about. It's not like we're going to do anything evil.
Great. Okay.
We won't even sing at you. Well, Brian might.
Oh, good. I'm looking forward to that, Brian.
So we did an interview a couple weeks ago for our episode that's dropping next week with an actor, and we got him to sing to us during the episode.
Oh my gosh, I missed it. I need to pick up where I left off and listen.
It'll come out next week. You haven't missed it.
Okay.
Yeah, it drops next week. It's William Sadler. He played Death in Bill and Ted's and Colonel Stewart in Die Hard 2.
Oh, cool.
He was my double. No, wait, I was his double. We were both very pale.
Cool.
So there's a picture floating around of Brian doubling him. And once you see that picture, you can't unsee it. Now all I see is the Reaper when I look at Brian.
Really?
Yeah. I'll tell you a story when we're not on the podcast of how I didn't have to bug him, but the story of how we got that picture and all that will be cut out because by the time this comes out, the episode with him will already be out. I was thinking of questions, how we met. While you may have taken the circle exercise with Jim Gleason, we haven't taken it together. So you may be a first for a local actor on our podcast.
Oh, right.
I think we met on the Wheel of Heaven set.
I think, so I never got to set for that.
Oh, then we didn't meet there.
So I don't, but I mean, I feel like we did know each other from something through Joe Badon or something like that. You know, it could have been just a film mixer type thing.
Yeah, I didn't do too much of that.
Familiar to me.
Yeah, but it's a lot of social media. And probably, I was bugging Jeff, I'm sure.
Maybe it was social media. It's so weird how it all blends together.
Yeah, totally. So when he said he was taking singing classes, like I had made a decision to improve my voice. I said, who are you taking with? Olivia Peck. And I was like, I know that name. I know that. Oh, yeah.
That's me. Yes.
We've been asking people about their inspirations, where they got their starts, different things that inspired them to different levels. So like on acting, you go from background to stand-in, if you take that route, to going for speaking parts. So let's go back in the Wayback Machine. And what was the inspiration where you feel like you went, whether it was singing or acting, I'm going to be an entertainer, or this solidified it for you?
Oh, acting, singing, especially singing for me was like the only thing I could really see myself doing because I did like writing. I will say that I did like writing and English and art, but singing, choir, theater, church choir, when I would go to church regularly as a kid, that was my outlet. That's what I like to do. I really could not see myself doing anything else. And I really didn't shine in a lot of other subjects besides that. I did, I was decent at school and everything, but it was just like obvious, I think, from the jump. From when I was a little kid, I would put on little shows for my parents and all of that. Get the bongos out and do a song with just bongos for my family, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I remember asking my mom, like, how do you write music? Can you teach me? And stuff like that. So I was just always super musical, and it kind of just like blossomed from there. I went to college for music education, and I got some experience doing opera on stage. I had done musicals before, and I always thought like, oh, it'd be so nice to just act. Because with singing, you're singing and acting.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So when I finally had an acting role, I was like, wow, that's it. Like, I just have to act. Little did I know that acting is actually really freaking hard. And once I was doing it for film, I realized like, no, this is all the subtleties. Like, you've really got to know your stuff and be well practiced, especially since I'm like a super nervous person, super nervous Nelly. And like, that's really bad for film.
Unless the character's nervous.
Yeah, unless the character is nervous.
You can use it.
Right. That's my favorite.
You cover it really well because you've never come across that way to me at all.
Oh,
Like
thank you so much.
In all of our interactions, I've always thought you came across very confident.
Oh, I appreciate it. No, I really appreciate that. I try really hard to, just keep it together. And my mom's really poised. She's really good at presenting and talking to people. She does radio and I think she kind of instilled that in one way or another. Like just, take a deep breath or fake it till you make it type thing.
Oh,
It's a
I
great
get you.
phrase. Yeah, but it just kind of kept spiraling. And then I started doing film when I landed in Louisiana. And that was what was sort of available. And I mean, I think I was just there. I took an acting class, and the thing in Louisiana, it's the film scene. There's a huge hub for that. There was welcoming arms from the film community. And I was like, all right, cool. I'm down. And I started taking classes, and it really spiraled out of control.
You couldn't get enough.
I couldn't get enough.
And then you've gone on to directing and producing, and you've met a certain bearded friend of mine there. Would you like to discuss that, y'all?
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Sounds good.
So, Todd's, tell us, I know the story, but I like hearing the story. Tell us about how you first started with Todd's and how it evolved into the movie that is now finished, right?
Yeah, it's done now. It started with a web series. I was living in New Orleans at the time, and all of my friends were actors. And I've always loved making little videos with my friends. I'm sure a lot of us do that and everything. And I've always done that. And I had this inspiration from this popcorn shop in my hometown. They have sample person who stands outside with a bucket of popcorn. And when I was in high school, I remember some of my friends had that job and thinking, wow, that's a great job. You just stand outside with popcorn all day. Right on. So I thought it was a fun job. And I used that to kind of create the world for Todd. The episodes were totally just wild. I would just write them in one sitting, trying to just definitely episodic. Things didn't really connect that much. And then I wanted to make a finale episode with everybody. And one of my friends said, hey, I'm moving to New York, and please shoot Todd's your final episode before I move to New York. And I was like, okay. I was like, well, I wanted to kind of do a feature length. And then I was like, you know what? Let's go. And I wrote a feature, and I kind of changed some stuff around so it would fit a feature arc as opposed to like an episode arc. And I did some rewrites because the first write of it was weird. And I wrote it again with sort of like a Tommy Boy type situation. And that's the one I ended up going with. And I just went for it. I really went for it. I was like, we're shooting this on a handy cam. All my little ideas I wanted to do, I was just like, let's do it. And I tried to shoot it as, inexpensively as possible, really thought about our locations, what we could use. And that's how it all came to be.
Excellent.
Let's make a movie. Okay.
Yes.
Boom, done.
Yeah.
That's right.
I don't think that's the usual route people go, but excellent.
Yeah. And I will say, it was fun. That's definitely along the lines of my personality. I kind of just go for stuff and see what happens. However, it took a lot out of me, creatively, emotionally. I mean, it was I did a lot of it. Thank goodness for all my friends. And they did so everybody involved did so much. It was exhausting.
Yeah, that was a lot of work.
It was a lot of work. It was a lot of work, but it was worth it for sure.
So a lot of your friends from the web episodes, I was curious, were y'all friends from college and they were also actors, or were they from just working in the community, acting classes and stuff like that?
Thank you for asking that. Yeah, it was actually Polar Express train ride.
Right.
So when I first moved to New Orleans, I moved to New Orleans because of this live children's show, Polar Express train ride. It's a Warner Brothers production, but they brought in a director and, their whole team. And they travel around the country with their team and prepare the cast in a week to put on this live train Christmas show that is supposed to be like taking kids and their families on the Polar Express journey, like the movie. It's all local New Orleans actors or wherever it's set. Sometimes they bring down actors from Atlanta for the New Orleans show, for instance, or they have a show in LA, and it's brutal. I mean, it's like Broadway on a train. We're with each other for all day, day after day, putting on some days, 5 shows a day. They're like an hour long or 45 minutes, I think, long shows. And so you get really close with these people. And most of the people that I was close with, friends with, later, I still work with Steven. He's my manager now at the restaurant I work at, and he and I met on the Polar Express. So these are like lifelong friendships that I made from that show.
Yeah. My wife and daughter went at least 2 years that I know of.
Aw.
Yeah.
It's a special time. It's fun.
They very well could have seen you and or your friends performing.
Right. Oh, definitely. Definitely. I'm sure. Yeah.
There's one that they're doing, I think it's in Oklahoma City. It was somewhere in Oklahoma because my in-laws are there this year. I submitted for it, but I didn't get an audition. I didn't expect to get an audition, but I wanted to at least submit because it seemed like it would be fun.
Yeah, it's really fun. It's definitely like a great experience. And then after doing it a few years, I took a step back from it because I wanted to give that space to A, somebody else who hasn't done it before, and B, just to be able to have that time with my family, because it really does like take up your whole December.
Yeah.
Your whole December. So that's Christmas, And if you celebrate Christmas, I'm a big Christmas person. I really missed out on some Christmas stuff for years.
Yeah.
So it was really nice to spend time with family.
So, Olivia, tell us what is next for Todd's. I know you finished with post-production on it recently. Where is it going from here?
The plan for Todd's, as of right now, we're going to have a cast and crew and family screening so we can all watch it together in a great space and be with each other and talk about Todd's. And if anybody has questions, whatever, just have that experience where we all get to see it in its finished glory. And then after that, we'll submit it to film festivals, see how it does. I'd really like to especially push it towards comedy festivals. After that, it will be like officially available to download, watch, buy, and that up in the air as far as where we're going to release it. But
I got
you.
Right.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited to see it come out.
Thank you.
I saw the early version of it, but I just can't wait to go to the premiere and see everybody and hang out and visit. That's going to be a fun night.
I'm so excited. My parents are coming.
Oh, yay.
And they're super jazzed. They're just like the most supportive people in the world. So
that's awesome.
Very cool. Very cool. Switching gears a little bit, since I primarily know you as my singing teacher, and I know what my journey has been with you. And one of the best things, other than just your great teaching, it was getting over the voice in my head that said I couldn't sing. So if you'd like to tell our listeners your experience, inspire them, fight that negative voice, anything along those topics, that my rambling question, if that can inspire you for an answer.
Oh, absolutely. Well, first I'll say that's the most common thing that people deal with when it comes to singing. It's an extremely vulnerable thing. A lot of people are told that they can't sing by somebody in their family, a close friend even, and that stuff will really haunt you and make you want to hold in your voice. Not only does it make you not want to sing, but it also can sometimes affect the way you sing because you'll be holding back or in some way, just not fully putting yourself out there. The thing is, we all have talents and gifts somewhere in there. And I always tell people this, really cherish your best qualities. So if you're really good at presenting, or if you're really good at the low notes or the high notes, or if you've got a great jazz voice, whatever that means, or if you're really good at screaming, just just really enjoy that part of your voice. And I know that like a lot of people will be like, oh, I just want to sing like Freddie Mercury, or I really wish I just could sing like Adele or my mom or whoever they're looking up to.
Right.
But you've got something in there that other people can't do necessarily. So lean into that first, be proud of yourself, enjoy it, and then go from there. That's a great jumping off point. But it's this classic, you've got one life to live. Just go for it, take the leap, and see what happens, because you're always your worst critic, always.
Right. We found out I'm kind of a crooner a little bit, and I'm a mimic, which my focus has been for voice acting. I want to improve my voice and to strengthen it. And then I can listen to the song. I need to read the words too. I can't memorize instantaneously. And I'm pretty good at parodying that back and then going from there,
Yep.
So you've helped me find a lot of my strengths.
Well, and there's value in that, and it's very valuable. And it's like, you might not realize it because you're like, oh, well, of course I can do that. But what's the big deal? It's a huge deal. It does help to have another person shine that light on that and make you realize, don't take that for granted. Like, that's a skill. That's a talent.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you helped me tremendously. Olivia and I met through Todd's, and down the line, I started thinking about taking singing lessons, not because I thought I was going to develop into a singer and become the next big thing. I did it just to kind of help boost my confidence in areas that I was lacking, for the very thing that you just said. People will tell you at an early age, oh, you can't sing, and that gets stuck in your head. And as I've gotten older, I've learned it took me a while to get to the point where something was different about me. I just owned it. It is what it is, and lean into that. But singing wasn't one of those things. And I found myself having a lot of restrictions, self-imposed restrictions, that I wouldn't let myself open up, especially for more emotional things, because I stayed and was taught to be guarded for so long. I grew up in an environment, and it started at home, but I grew up in an environment you don't share your emotions. My background, my work history, you just don't. You don't show emotion, and it's not okay to be vulnerable and show that. And getting into acting, I knew that I needed to open myself up more and just kind of let it fly. So that was why I reached out to you in the beginning to start taking singing lessons, was to help with that. And it helped tremendously. Just not even with just that, but even to the point of second guessing myself about making a post online. And a year ago, I would have never posted on social media that I couldn't be vulnerable. I would have never said that, would have just never let it be out there, And about a month ago, maybe more, Brian can probably speak to the exact timeline. I don't remember. The weeks kind of blend together. He and I both got an audition for the same project, and part of that required singing. I did not submit for that role. My agent submitted me, but I kind of felt obligated to do the audition because I had turned down a couple of auditions pretty close to that. And I thought, you know what? Why not? I know I can't sing, but at least it will be some experience. So I did the audition. I wasn't embarrassed of the speaking part. I did the singing, and, I had my wife in helping me just with the camera, and I sang it, and I'm like, nope. And I went around. She's like, don't you delete that. So I did a couple tapes and I listened to them back, and I'm like, nope. I know I've got a decent ear. I can hear, but I'm not necessarily a good mimic like Brian is, but I can hear, especially myself, when I hear it back, if I'm out of key. And it was bad, but you know what? I wouldn't have even tried it before you and I started working together. I would not have even done the audition, and just doing that and submitting it, I think, was growth. And I told Brian, I said, it's bad, but I'm submitting it. And I told my agent later, I said, look, I submitted it, but I know it was bad. And we both had a laugh about it, but it was fun trying, and it felt good having the confidence to try, even knowing that it wasn't going to go anywhere. I appreciate the work that you and I, and the time that you and I spent working on that, because I would have never tried that 6 months ago.
That's honestly what I would hope for. That would be at least some growth for you, and that's really the goal. That is the goal, is just to take it further than it was. And growth is growth. So good for you.
Yeah.
And you're inspiring other people. You know, it's like a domino effect. It really is.
Yeah. So if you want to build up your confidence, go talk to Olivia, take some voice lessons.
Thanks, guys.
And I heard Brian's. Brian sounded good.
Oh, thank you. That he left me speechless. Thank you.
You guys both have lovely voices. And, you know, especially for not singing your whole entire lives, really nice tones, beautiful and in their own unique way. And both of you can do a lot of different things with your own unique voice. And TJ, I know you know when you're off key or whatever. We hadn't done a lesson in a while, I think, when you did that audition. And
right.
You know that if you really wanted to pursue singing, that you have an ear and you at least have a jumping off point, which is just awesome.
Thank you.
Of course.
Our last lesson, singing the song Being Alive from Company the Musical. Who the hell, if you knew me, like, you're going to do what? And I did pretty good. It's definitely at the top of my range. And then he belts. I kind of copied one singer who can't think of his name and I'm kicking myself, but also dropping it an octave and playing with I've always wanted a deep voice, which I've never had. I've always been kind of nasally. So that's opened up and I've been taking some vocal warm-ups and I did it. And I started really low where afterwards, Olivia said, I thought you were going to hurt yourself. I was like, no, that felt really good. So for me, being able to do that but you can get down in that voice, you know, I got a little rasp in that, or I can kind of higher voice and it's helping me do stuff and, you know, blah, 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 blah. So
the range.
Yeah. I liked it when we did a cartoon song. I did the Animaniacs song and I was able to throw different voices in it. Like at first it starts off with a German character, Dr. Scratch and Snief. And then as the characters, as they sing back to him, I wasn't trying to imitate their voices, but they're trying to find out what they are. It's like, maybe we're dogs. Maybe we are dogs. Cute little dogs. Woof, woof. Or one was a cat. Maybe I'm a cat. What do you think of that? Yeah, you know. So that was a lot of fun. And people were like, okay, wow. Like that surprised people.
Yeah. And I was saying like, oh my gosh, I was surprised with how polished a lot of your voices were. I was surprised you hadn't really put a lot of those out there before.
Yeah. I had kind of put cartoon training, voice training on the back burner to concentrate on the acting because it's voice acting, not voice acting. You know, it's always the acting. Just like the singing, I didn't want to put the cartoon voices out there too early. You know what I mean? And both of them there's a consistency you have to do. And, you know, just like acting, trying to keep everything in your head, keeping it all right, keep the musical notes lifted, keeping the same accent and the same tone. It's great, but it's a struggle. And I love doing all of it. And all I can do is thank you for all the help you've given me.
Oh, well, I'm happy to do it. It makes me happy that you've benefited from it. Yay. Well, and two, I think when you're, you know, like with voice acting, you care about it so much. And I do think that when you're really passionate about something and you're really, really working at something, you want to present it when you're ready.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of, I totally get that.
Yeah, it's the same. I didn't try for an agent or auditioning for a long time, for years. And I really wanted to get out here and do the job. And I never felt ready. Because you can start right now. And for some people, that's great. You start right away, try to get an agent. Some of our people we've talked to, they've already had it. I wanted to give a higher quality audition. Doesn't mean I'm going to walk in there. And I always quote that Meryl Streep. I'm not going to be Meryl Streep or Denzel Washington walking out the door. But I just didn't want to be, hi, I am here to act. I don't know what I'm saying. You know, I did not want to do that. Because to go from my day job, although I work at night, to go in for acting, I wanted to jump and dive into the pool instead of belly flop. I want to make a good impression, so I'd rather wait and at least do a good job.
Yeah, that makes sense. I probably should have done that when I started.
No.
I did not do that, of course. As I have already said with Todd's, how I just kind of went for it. I've done that with everything.
But that's awesome.
Yeah, there's definitely benefits to it because it's another way to grow. And I don't easily get embarrassed. I do get easily nervous, but not necessarily embarrassed, which are in my head, two different things. Mm-hmm. And I've like with acting, I really did. I started doing it before I really knew what I was doing. And in a good way, like in the good side of that is I had some really good experiences. The downside is I think some people's first impression of me, that's it when I started. And I've definitely grown from that point. So I have to live with that.
I gotcha.
But that's the one downside there. Or even in working on set, there are some sets I definitely was very green, asked some questions that I should have just kept inside. Things like that. And looking back, I'm like, oh, good Lord. I thought when your lav is not off and you're saying stuff like that, it's like just really ridiculous things that you learn as you go.
And a lav is the mic that they put on your shirt. It's a remote mic. It's wireless. So hopefully you didn't bring it into the bathroom with you.
I'm sure I did. There are a lot of things I didn't know, but yeah.
We'll just leave the question there. We'll stop there.
Yeah, you live and you learn.
You live and you learn. And sometimes you learn by the sound person giving you a look later at another function. Like, oh, she's a little weird, or whatever. And then you're like, why did that person? And then you think back. Yeah.
I have too many people who think I'm weird for me to try to look back. I'd be here all night.
Right. You just, at some point. Yeah.
We've also been asking not only people's inspiration, but their dreams. Sometimes we've asked who's the top actor or top 5 actors you'd like to work with, what kind of dream role. But also for you, there's a singing quality, there's a music quality. So pick one of those types, one of those categories, whatever that question inspires you. Tell us your deepest secrets.
My deep secret. I hope that I just, as I get older, get more and more time to spend with my dog, because I work a lot to be able to support my creative passions. And I hope in 10 years from now, I have something figured out where I can spend more time at home and work for myself a little bit more. I have this dream of opening up a bookstore. So that's totally out of left field, but
that's awesome.
That's a big thing for me. And I really like making stuff with my friends. So if I'm thinking like what actors I want to work with, it's just repeats of friends that I've worked with. And I just want to keep making stuff with the people that have supported me. And I want to keep supporting them. And I just hope we all can keep making our own stuff forever.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Do you have anything in mind for either a follow-up to Todd's or something, a different direction?
Yes, I do. I have another one in mind that is totally different in terms of characters in the world, but still a mockumentary. And I want to keep doing mockumentaries, I think. So I do have a couple up my sleeve. My parents are like pushing for a sequel to Todd because they have seen it, the finished version, once already. So they're like, oh, it really seems like a sequel would make sense. So we'll see. We'll see. I don't know. I'm thinking maybe a prequel. So there are a couple ideas floating around.
There are also movie trilogies out there that are in the world, but they're not direct sequels. There's something in them that connects them.
That's a good point. Thank you. Yeah.
Like a cinematic universe.
Yeah, I've seen one that was based on a snack food. That snack food always appears in that. So that's how they link it together. But it's always the same director and pretty much the same cast.
Oh,
so they called
interesting.
It that. Yeah.
That's cool.
You've been in one of those. Pop-Tart Wars.
Oh, yes. Pop-Tart Wars. Yes.
With Adrian Jordan.
Adrian, I love, so some of the people that I worked with, but were not directly linked to Todd's, but I love working with them, are Adrian Jordan and Brandon Cutlefa, I think is how you say his last name. Adrian writes his own sketches and he's a great writer and he is really funny and he always brings a great team together to shoot, and they make some really good quality content and they're just so inspiring to me, especially for comedy and sketch comedy in New Orleans. And there are a lot of really good ones out there. That's just 2 that I can think of their names clearly, but there are a lot of awesome, especially funny people in New Orleans who are making their own stuff.
There's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot. Yeah, Adrian is really talented. His cinematography is incredible.
Yes, and
Carlos
he's doing that. Yeah, Carlos
Jimenez
and Matt.
Jeremy Sari.
Yep, Jeremy Sari. A lot of great groups of making their own stuff where everyone involved is coming together. They're friends and making it happen. in their free time.
Yeah. Not only was I involved in Joe Badon's film, The Wheel of Heaven, but my friend Josh Stevenson, I met him on a set, and he started working on it before I met him. So it was like 2016, and he did a proof of concept video, and he won some awards at a festival, and he kept going. Never did a Kickstarter, so this is all out of his pocket. So it's not even low budget. It's no budget. Yeah, I totally get what you're saying. I love the New Orleans community. And there was no money in that. We're not doing it for money. We don't plan on making money. Just for the fun and the love of creating and crafting, and can't wait for people to see it.
Yeah. Yes.
It's such a fun community, and the people, everybody's just so welcoming. I made a lot of friends, people that I still stay in touch with from Todd's, from the night that we shot the last scene with everybody there. I made probably 25 friends that night.
Oh, I'm so glad. Yeah, that was a really fun day. In my opinion, that's the most fun way to meet people is on a project. Like Brian talked about the Wheel of Heaven. I did not work on that, but having Jeff come home and talk about it, or while he was on set and calling me and stuff, I could tell. And I knew a couple of those individuals like Callie, just such a great group. And it's just one of those things where you become a family. And you're actually working together. It's the perfect time to meet people and find some common thing. You're working together. So it's the best.
And people are very supportive. I don't know if it's just that I'm not in the wrong places at the wrong time, but people are supportive, complimentary. I don't see a lot of toxicity at all. Everybody is just so incredibly nice.
Yeah. I found that too. And I've been asked a few times, we all get asked like, oh, you're going to move to LA or Atlanta. And I did a stint in Atlanta. Great people up there too. But I missed New Orleans. I genuinely was homesick. I might give it another go up there. I'm not saying I'm ruling that out or like I have to be down here. But I missed it because it is special. And the people down here, they love what they do, just doing it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. And how many people do we know, even away from the movie industry, where I came to New Orleans to visit and I loved here and I never left. This city, it gets into people's souls quick. And I'm not just talking about for drinking for people who are listening and not from here. And you can have fun with that. You can overdo it. But there's something so unique. Like I lived in San Antonio for a year. It's a nice city. Not the same. Not the same. I don't think I could move permanently to somewhere like LA or New York. I've been to LA once for like a movie premiere. No, I liked it. Didn't love it. So I'm a NOLA boy.
The weather there is really nice. I really like their weather.
I lived in San Diego for 5 years. The first time in the early days of the military, and then for about 3 months when I was doing workups for deployment. And I'll just say it's a nice place to visit. The weather in San Diego, I love it. Year round, it was always nice. But the last couple times I went back, I don't know if it's because I'm used to being here, but just the smog and gloomy all the time. And it's a nice place to visit, but I don't have any interest in ever living out there again. Even living there for 5 years, I've only been to LA a handful of times. I don't really have any interest in being out there.
Yeah.
Now, if they want to pay me and put me on set, I'll move in a minute.
Right.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's a little different. Change the stakes, change the answer a little bit.
Totally.
But generally speaking,
I'm moving back once the shooting's done.
There you go.
Unless they hire me on another one. See, that's how it works.
If we could trade the weather for their weather, we'd have it all.
Yeah.
Truly.
I like the occasional snow. People, I've talked, they're like, oh, no, New Orleans snow is about an inch when we get it. People can't drive in it. They're crazy. They can't drive in the rain. Imagine the snow.
Yeah.
But I guess I could tell you. So I was born in 1970. And it snowed here in New Orleans in 1973. And when I consider snow, it's not just a couple of flakes, just like an inch on the ground. You can see it. And my mother, being from Maine, built these snow people. But I have no memory of it. My memory started about 5 years old. But I'd see the pictures of the snow people and Christmas specials, and everybody else had, snow. So every year, I want snow, didn't get it. I want snow, didn't get it. I graduated high school in 1988 and then got religious after that. I wanted to be a priest. So it snowed in New Orleans that year. Hell froze over. Went to the seminary. There's a process called discernment where you live it, you pray it. And it was going to be a 10-year program. I only made it 1 year and decided it wasn't for me. I come back to New Orleans, not very religious anymore. and then just lived my life. And, dating, trying to find somebody, wasn't successful. Christmas Day, 2004, it snows again. Beautiful. And I built a little snow family on the hood of my car. Even kind of burned a turducken, but we won't talk about that. And I went, okay, God, who is she? And I met my wife the next week on New Year's Day because it was after midnight.
Aww.
And also, she was born on the day it snowed in 1973.
Oh my gosh. That's the best love story.
So she's my little snow.
Wow, that's crazy.
Thank you.
That is crazy. That's really wild. That's really sweet, Brian. I love that story.
Thank you. Shall we embarrass
that's a good story.
Public? Yeah, I like it.
No, it's perfect.
Yeah.
I knew y'all met on New Year's Eve, and I knew the part about going to the seminary, but I did not know that part. That's really cool.
Yeah, it's spooky.
Aww.
Wow.
We've been together 16 years. We just did a swamp tour for our anniversary, and she let me come back from it. So, we must be doing something right.
Something right. Yeah.
That is precious. That is precious.
Thank you. So I don't know if I could be totally without snow in LA. I need a little bit. Yeah, New Orleans weather is a pain. If you don't like what it is, don't worry. The next season's coming in about 3 hours.
Yeah. Do you miss snow, Olivia?
Not really. I don't miss snow that much. I'm always cold. Even my whole life, I've always been freezing all the time. I'm at the beach with, a shirt, full outfit, wet shirt. My family always teases me because I'm coming to the beach with a sweatshirt on, and it's definitely not that cold out. I don't really miss the cold. I do miss the seasons a little bit. They've got more seasons up there, I guess, best way to put it.
Yeah, we have summer and February.
Right. Right. Two. It's okay. It's all right. It's worth it. Gets a little hot, but you know what? I can't have it all.
Olivia, I've got bad news.
What?
We're out of time. That's it.
Aw, I had so much fun.
Yeah, so did we. It was a blast. And I'll see you at my next lesson.
Sounds good, Brian. Good to see you, TJ.
Me too.
Thanks, guys.